Well, boys and girls, we have made it to the end. This is the bottom of the Splatoon Iceberg. Everything here is either unconfirmed, totally confirmed and really creepy, or I just can't find a single thing about it. I gotta say, this is pretty bittersweet because, as annoying as these things are to make, I've seen a lot of people discover my channel from this, and just about every single comment is so nice, and I want to say thank you guys for helping me start off my channel. You first subscribers truly mean the world to me. So without any further ado, let's get right into the final part of the iceberg. The professor is a character mentioned in Sunken Scrolls who is basically probably going to be the one character that is responsible for every single story event going forward. He was the one that preserved Judd in cryosleep and gave Judd the cloning chamber to make Lil Judd. He is responsible for creating Tartar and probably giving Tartar the ideas on how to make the primordial ooze. And he's basically just described as the smartest man ever, and there's no confirmation that this man is dead. So I would not be surprised if we saw him in a later game. Also, we have no idea what he looks like outside of the bottom of his face in this one drawing. So there's not much to him at this date, but I really believe that'll change in the future. The hidden messages in the 2020 New Year artwork is a cryptic message in the numbers 2020 where it reads out "Save our salmons," which really put people in a tizzy because a few weeks prior, Nintendo just posted a photo where it looked like Marina had gone missing, correlating back to when Callie went missing in the Splatoon 2 campaign. So we all thought we were about to see Splatoon 3, and who knows, maybe we were before the whole sea virus went around and did its thing. Splatoon 2 collaboration with Fortnite was a theory that popped up in 2019 after data mined files in Fortnite were found labeling items as Squid Kids, which refer to the Inkling's name when you say, are they a kid or are they a squid? So it made people believe that something was going to happen between Fortnite and Splatoon, which I don't think anything ever came of this, and we don't really know what happened to those files labeled Squid Kid, and with Fortnite's whole thing with them collaborating with everyone, we've already gotten one from Sony, and we've gotten one from Microsoft. It just makes sense to me that Nintendo's current biggest shooter, sorry Metroid fans, but it's their biggest shooter now, so why not throw them in with Fortnite when everyone else is doing it? But Nintendo is also very protective of their IPs, so this could end up being nothing, and maybe it was something Epic wanted to do that they went ahead and started making preparations for, but then didn't actually turn out to happen. Also, why they would have started this 2 years earlier to when it could have happened makes no sense, so I guess this is kind of a baseless theory, but I don't know, we never found out what happened to those files, so anything could happen, really. The Deep Sea Metro destination is something that I can't tell if it's a joke theory or not, because there's no destination for the Deep Sea Metro besides really the 4 Thang locations and all the other test sites. The Deep Sea Metro literally just exists to take people to test sites, so there isn't really a destination. And you could say the destination is the Promised Land, but we only get to go through the Promised Land by breaking out of all of the test sites and just breaking out of the arena that the Deep Sea Metro is in anyway. So it's not the Promised Land. It's probably not really the 4 Thangs either, so it's really just one big loop of death to test who can be put into the primordial ooze. Ambient sounds and shifty stations is something I just learned about during the last Splatfest when I went to recon shifty stations, which apparently I've never done before until now, but there's a weird ambience, and I'll put an audio clip of the actual ambient noises. What's particularly weird about this one track is that songs used in turf war or ranked battle will usually either loop around if they're in a ranked battle until the match is over, or the song just has a 2-minute mark where it'll stop at before Now or Never plays. However, this one song is 5 minutes long, and you can't actually hear it during a Turf War Splatfest match. So, why this track is 5 minutes long is another mystery in itself. I would say to you go check it out in game, but yeah, that's impossible now. But you can easily find this online. People have recorded the whole thing and ripped the actual 5-minute track from the game itself. Salmonoids and Octarians trade with power eggs is actually very true. So the Salmonoids will give power eggs to the Octarians in exchange for Octarian technology, which I can assume would be the things that make boss Salmonoids have the weaponry and the armor that they bring out in battle. So yeah, this one's very true, which true things are going to start to either get really creepy or just stop existing into later on in this layer and the final layer, so get ready. Originally, I could find nothing on this, and that was until the creator of the iceberg themselves, Sack Squid, found my videos and was able to answer a few of my questions on the iceberg. So yes, I can confirm Salmon Run was tested and developed on Splatoon 1 on the Wii U. I couldn't find the exact images of it, but I have proof to back this up by also showing that Wahoo World was also tested and developed on Wii U on Splatoon 1, and I think that's really cool. So what I'm wondering now is, are a bunch of other Splatoon 2 maps also somewhere in Splatoon 1's base files? If so, that would be really weird, and it would make you wonder why we paid for Splatoon 2 then. Unused minigame shown in Hero Mode trailer is a clip from the Splatoon 1 Hero Mode trailer, where Agent 3 is shooting Octarians in a 2D Metroid style game, and this was absent at the launch of the game and is not there, and I think it'd be cool to play this. I don't know if this is just a clip or not, or if this is an actual test demo like the 8-bit Zelda Breath of the Wild test demo, but this would be pretty cool to play through one day, though we are probably never going to see it. Ghostface in Inkblot Art Academy is one of those occurrences where you think you see a face, but really it's just your brain doing something to make you think it is. And this occasion, it's just a spot of sun reflecting on a piece of glass. There's not much to this one. Fax Machine Religion is the idea that the Inklings and Octolings celebrate Splatfest because the fax machine prints out the topic and they go and do it, like a religion. And I don't know if it's been confirmed or not, but there's a theory that the fax machine is getting faxed things from humans that colonized the moon to escape the Great Flood that started out Splatoon. Ghostface in Flounder Heights is something that I couldn't find anything on, but I know is real because when Sack Squid contacted me about the things that I couldn't find, they did confirm that Ghostface in Flounder Heights was something that they had found before from the same person that had leaked that Salmon Run was tested and developed on the Wii U. So this is real, however, I do not have anything to show. 10,007 Dead Octolings is about how when you start Octo Expansion, you're given the number 10,008, being the 10,008th Octarian. We don't know if they're Octolings or Octarians, but you're just number 10,008. And we know that there are 10,007 dead creatures of Octarian origin, because Agent 8 is the only one to have ever made it out of the Deep Sea Metro. Those who were candidates for the program to get out and to join the Promised Land were grounded up into the ooze, yet Agent 8 was saved because of Agent 3 saving them. So yeah, there are 10,007 dead Octarians that didn't make it out of the Deep Sea Metro. Let that sink in if you haven't already. The Promised Land was always a lie is a true statement, because when you start off Octo Expansion, you're told that you're going to go to the Promised Land after you finish all the tasks for the telephone and get the 4 things, and in turn you just get thrown into the blender instead before you almost die. So yeah, this one's true. Not much to this one. Screenshot of an early version of Nicopolis Plaza hidden in the data for the Splatoon Global Test Fire is real, and it's actually a cool look back at Splatoon's history. It's just a basic image of what Megapolis Plaza would look like before they decided to go with what they did in the final version, pretty much. The name is very self-explanatory, and I'm kind of just lengthening this out before the video ends, before we get into the really good stuff. Hacker named Agent 4 with white hair ink in Splatoon 1 is kind of crazy when you first think about it, but the more you really think about it and break it down, the more sense it makes. Like, the whole idea that, oh, it's Agent 4's name, so therefore maybe they're from Nintendo and they know something about Splatoon 2, kind of goes away when you really think about how many people you've been matched in multiplayer lobbies that have had the name of Agent 2, Agent 1, Agent 3, Agent 4, or Agent 8, and you can think of all the other times you might have seen someone named like Agent 7 or Agent 10 or something, where like you kind of just throw darts at the board and eventually you'll get something, and being named Agent 4 before Splatoon 2 comes out would make even more sense, because who's going to be right after Agent 3? Oh, it's definitely going to be Agent 4, but now that we've got Octo expansion, and they just jumped from Agent 4 to Agent 8, that makes a little less sense. So if we saw something like that, and it's some random number like, oh, let's say it's Agent 11 or something, and that's actually what we get in a new game, that would make more sense for it being someone at Nintendo. But having someone with the name Agent 4 in Splatoon 1 makes a little more sense. The whole hacker part is kinda just self-explanatory. It's just someone that hacked and made their hair a different color. There's not much really to it. It's just a hacker with a name that could fool some people, and that's what it did. So yeah. I still think it's a pretty cool entry though, that someone was able to go in here and just cause all this pandemonium over the changed hair and got people thinking maybe this was someone inside Nintendo because of the name. Seawater levels rise after World War V comes from the explanation of how the Splatoon world got to where it is, was because in World War V, after someone in some country decided to launch a nuke at Antarctica, the sea level started rising, which killed off all human life and most life that couldn't fly or swim, which eventually led to the Inklings evolving and becoming the most dominant species. 14,000 plus years in the future is around the time that the Splatoon series actually takes place in like recorded history. So after humanity nuked Antarctica and the world got flooded and most people died, it took around, I think it was 12,000, or the theory states 14,000, but I thought it was 12,000 years for Inklings and Octolings to evolve to the point where Splatoon's story starts to happen. This is the entry that gave me so many problems, and even Sack Squid isn't 100% sure on what it is. So Gambit AI remnants are leftover AI elements from Gambit, aka Splatoon 1, which Gambit is Splatoon 1's development name, and that Gambit AI has remnants in Blitz, which is Splatoon 2's development name, and what these AI remnants are still unknown. And as much as it sounds like a whole every copy of Super Mario 64 is personalized thing, it doesn't look like that's the case. It's just something that's not known by a whole ton of people, which I'm really happy it's not, honestly. Like, I was expecting something creepy and creepypasta to come out of this, but it's just something that's really more realistic, and I like that. Allegory for RACISM and GENOCIDE is about how the Splatoon 1 and 2 campaigns are about fighting the Octolings and the Octarians back, because basically they're just different races, and because that they've had such bad race relations in the past, the Octarians constantly will attack the Inklings and steal the Great Zapfish, and you have to go on all these missions because they stole the Great Zapfish, and they're in that position because the race relations got so bad that the Octarians were forced underground during the war with the Inklings. So yeah, there's a pretty dark theme there. YouTube video with Splatoon characters includes suicide tips shown on the news. So I want to give a little warning to anyone that might be kinda sensitive on this subject. To me, it's not really that sensitive because I find Filthy Frank a little funny, but basically the clip that will be shown here is of a Splatoon Gmod short where it cuts over to a part of a Filthy Frank video, and his humor is most certainly not for everyone. And if you deal with hard times involving this subject, I would just like you to know that you are not alone, and you can contact, in America, the suicide hotline at 1-800-273-8255 any day of the week, anytime you want. But regardless, if you are okay with seeing this, here is the clip and the news article that it was shown on.
Parents, you'll really want to listen up here. A Florida pediatrician and mother recently discovered a very disturbing video clip on the YouTube Kids app. Again, this is on the YouTube Kids app.
Now, in it, a man is teaching them and encouraging children to commit suicide. Now, before ABC4's Rick Aaron tells us about this wake-up call for parents, we want viewers to know you might find some of this disturbing.
The video, which has since been removed from YouTube, appears to be a normal children's cartoon until the 4-minute and 44-second mark.
Remember, kids, sideways for attention, long ways for results. End it.
Dr. Greg Hudnall, founder of the youth suicide prevention group Hope for Utah, calls the video the modern equivalent of putting razor blades in Halloween candy.
It just breaks our heart that, you know, we would expose this to young children. You have young people who may be hurting. You have young people that may be struggling with a mental illness and other challenges. And so then when they see that, sometimes they think that may become an option.
Dr. Hudnall's peer support Hope teams are now in 520 different schools. Today, he told Utah Valley University students that suicide is the leading killer of 10 to 17-year-olds in Utah.
The youngest suicide I've worked with, 4th grade. Think about that, 4th grade. The youngest we have on record that's ever attempted, kindergarten.
Florida pediatrician Dr. Free Hess has posted other animated videos she found on YouTube Kids that appear to romanticize suicide.
Those subtle messages that they're putting in there are glorifying it and sensationalizing and taking it away from the seriousness that it really is. One of the things that we need to remember is that people don't want to die. They want the pain to go away, and they don't know how to make that pain go away. So when they see things like this, it gives them ideas.
Google, the parent company of YouTube, says they have employees monitoring videos 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you see anything inappropriate, you can report it on their Help Center page. Reporting in the newsroom, Rick Aaron, ABC4 News.
That is just sad and terrible in so many ways. Now, if you or somebody you know is actually having suicidal thoughts, you can call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. You can also visit utahsuicideprevention.org. You can also use the Safe UT smartphone app.
Alright everyone, that concludes the Sack Squid Splatoon Iceberg. I would like to give a big thank you to Sack Squid for helping me out with the entries that I couldn't find, and just thank you for making the whole thing. Sack Squid's YouTube channel will be in the description below. I would like to thank everyone that's found these YouTube videos that I've been making and subscribed to the channel. I've hit 51 subscribers as of uploading this in the first 13 days of opening this channel, and that means a lot to me because I had a YouTube channel before, and over like 4 years I never got to 50 subscribers, and just seeing the whole thing done in under 2 weeks just really gives me a lot of hope that maybe I can do something with this channel. I don't know what I'm going to do for content after this. I've got some ideas though, but I think I'm just going to take the rest of the week off and just kind of chill. Maybe I'll do something, probably not though. I will see you guys next week when I eventually figure out what I'm gonna do. Yeah, see ya.